Serving moose knuckle and all that back then.
So, I don't know. We're live right now, so we'll just hang out.
Oh, that was
hang
live
out
for a second?
Maybe. I don't know if I caught that or not, but probably nobody was watching yet. So
thanks, you're doing great.
Awesome.
Great. Got my hair cut the other day at LaBelle's Barbershop. I don't know if you guys have been there yet.
How was that? Who'd you go
It's
to, John?
Tom Covey. Covey. He's been my guy since had somebody else I think the first time, but he's pretty solid. I like him. Have you been there?
They just hired, I follow them on Facebook. They just hired 2 new.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pretty solid. I don't know the other guys that well yet, but Cody's...
Well, now you can get us a hookup. We all get a free haircut.
I mean, if we mention...
I mean, look, we're doing our podcast and we're talking about LaBella Barbershop.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on. You hear that, Covey?
LaBella, that's cuts for you.
They actually sponsor our sister show, 330 to Go. So they do cover us on that end. But so, yeah, you guys ready to do a show?
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are here at Lock 15. And as craft beer continues to flourish here in Akron, Ohio, the community also continues to grow. And as we expand, curiosity and intrigue begins to fuel a momentous movement filled with styles, recipes, and an experience maybe not yet met in our area. Thus, the craft beer pub revolution continues with another exciting and highly anticipated brewery and brew pub, the Lock 15 Brewing Company. So thank you guys so much for being on the Hop and the Bean for our episode number 8. And we're going to be covering your progress for the next couple of weeks, actually, which is going to be super fun.
We're excited about it.
Build up to your opening. And so thanks for being here. And so maybe to start us off, before we get into all the nuts and bolts about who you are and kind of that stuff, I think it's a really cool location that you guys have here. Maybe tell us about where we're actually located, and actually start with where we're sitting right now, because your area is right now, it's under construction, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we are still we are nearing the finish line, but there's still a little bit too much dust and some final coats of varnish and some things that are drying over there. So we expect to be moving into our space pretty much full time over the weekend.
Nice.
And then final touches over the course of next week. We've fired up all the coolers and the kitchen equipment. They're getting everything squared away on that side. So we are moments away. So that's big for us. But actually, right now,
heck yeah,
we are sitting next door to Lock 15 Brewing Company. It's called the Trailhead Event Space. This is a beautiful space. It's about 7,500 square feet. It's a multi-use space. We just did our first wedding reception last weekend, and we've also done many other lunch events, dinner events down here already as well. So it's a versatile space. You can seat about 200 people in here comfortably. We have opportunities to do food, to do beverage, to put together really a full-service program over here. Kaylee Foster is running the show over here. She does a great job. And
literally right next door. I mean, it's one door over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's for the purposes of having a nice event and then wanting to parlay that into dinner and some beers, you can certainly join us over at Lock 15 easily after an event here.
Absolutely.
Which I think works out great.
Yeah, that'd be a great kind of partnership. Are we guys going to do anything together, like have anything here, like events in the long run?
We will if we can, yeah. I think the one of the big things for us is just making sure that although we are so close to one another, they are separate spaces.
Right, yeah.
They are separate liquor licenses, so
gotcha.
There's a lot of little ins and outs about transference of drinks from one spot to the next.
Okay.
But our hope is that we can help facilitate food for them, that we can provide beer on their taps over here because we can sell them, sell them our beer, and then people can use our space as I know, when I'm at a wedding reception, I often like to get away for a little bit.
Sure.
So, just to have that space right next door, I think it helps out.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially to provide beer. I'm like, hey, where's this beer from? Right next door. Mm-hmm. And so speak maybe more about the geographically where we're at, the location of the brewery and of where this is at, because I've been trying to tell people about where it's at. West 21 North or West North Street?
21 West North Street.
Okay.
Yeah, 21 West North Street, Akron 44304.
Okay.
We're on the corner of North Street and Howard Street, just off the north end of downtown.
Yeah.
So, as you make your way up Howard Street towards North Hill, there's a lot of development happening down here. But really what made us fall in love with the location was just the history of the place. We are in the Cascade Locks Park, what has become now the Cascade Locks Park. We're right off the towpath trail as it makes its way into downtown. And this is just a great stopping point on the trail for families to come off, take a little break. You can load up your bikes, you can load up your cars. There's the parking lots for the Cascade Locks Park, the Mustill Store and Museum, which are right across from us here at Lock 15. So Lock 15 kind of became the heart of the whole location.
Okay.
And that was important for a couple of different reasons. For me, personally, growing up in Highland Square, this place was just desolate when I was growing up.
Sure, yeah.
Cascade Locks Park hadn't even been a thought yet. The Mustill Store and Museum that sits right across from us here was in complete disarray and overgrown. And this was just generally speaking a place that was more, a street that you took to pass through from one spot to the next, but not a spot that you would stop for any reason. Really.
Right, yeah.
So with the development of the Cascade Locks Park and the towpath trail coming through downtown, we just realized when we got down here that we had sort of unearthed really the birthplace of Akron. We have these really cool canal maps that are in our bathrooms right now, and you need a little R&R. As you
a little extra reading time.
Put your phone down for a minute and look at the
right.
Look at the maps, okay?
That's right.
Look at the maps.
That's right. But if you see the map of the canal from a topographical standpoint, where we are is in the middle of this staircase that just goes up, 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 up. And although that doesn't represent much on paper, what it represents to the reality of people that were traversing the canal is that it took the better part of a day to get through just this section of canal.
Sure.
And being that all of these locks, which are now called the Cascade Locks, are one right after the other, after the other, after the other. You've got, Joe and Sarah Mustill that emigrated from England that identified Lock 15 as a place where they could set up their store and their shop and capture all of these people that were stuck in the lock system for the course of the day, and they created commerce. And with commerce comes housing and people that were moving into the area. And it just became a flourishing marketplace, this whole area along the canal. So I like to think of this as really, part of one of the integral parts of the birthplace of Akron, and why Akron became such a desirable place to settle and became the city that it did was largely due to the fact that people were stuck here for the better part of a day.
Sure.
Traveling the canal. So Lock 15 represents one of the last locks before the canal kind of merged with the Little Cuyahoga River, which you can actually see from the Mustill Store. The old canal and the river come together.
Nice.
So it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Again, I think if we have the potential to kind of become a little peninsula here, in the way that the recreational element and the food and beverage element had kind of come together there and really created a destination.
Yeah.
I think we can kind of create the entryway into downtown Akron from a recreational standpoint on the towpath trail.
Yeah, I love that. Before we go any further, why don't you do me a favor, introduce our panel that we have here. I don't think we did that yet.
Oh, no, I guess we didn't.
Yeah,
I guess we didn't. Well, this is the Assistant General Manager of Lock 15 Brewing Company, Alex Wilkinson.
Okay.
Alex and I have known each other for a good number of years and was absolutely my first choice for the job, and I was humbled and very grateful that he took on the role.
He said yes. Awesome.
And Jonathan Taylor is our Executive Chef. Jonathan Taylor is newer to the Akron area, but he's been around for many years and has been cooking both down south and in Grafton. He comes from the Jailhouse Tavern in Grafton. And we were just really excited about his energy, his skill, his networking abilities and just his overall sense of what it takes to get a business open.
Right.
To get somebody not only with the talent but with the knowledge to get things off of paper and into reality.
Yeah, start actually doing it.
That's a skill set you don't see every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were honored to and extremely excited about what he's going to produce for us.
Some of those intangibles, kind of like anybody can do, the basic job, but to be able to have that, I don't know, the kind of gusto, I guess, right, if you will, to be able to go after and do it. I get that feel from all you guys, so it's exciting. And you, Colin, right?
Yes, Colin Cook.
Colin Cook.
I am a native of Highland Square.
That's where I live now.
Raised. An Akron kid for most of my life. I spent some time away. I was in New York City for a couple years and in Philadelphia for about 8 years. And that was really where my love of the hospitality industry was nurtured. And I had the opportunity to work with some amazing people. And it really kind of lit a fire in me to kind of eventually move back home and share some of those experiences that I had there, take some of those lessons learned, and create a great gathering place for people in our community. I think that the brewing sensation, everything that's happened with the craft brewing, craze has been unbelievable and just really great. But I think pairing that with a really top of the line food program, just kind of bringing a lot of these little elements together into one place is really the thing that sets us apart from a lot of the other operations that you see.
Oh no, I'm going to get to that. That's one of my questions that I have for you guys both probably, but that's something like you're part of that generation that I've been seeing, kind of like that. You graduated, kind of went away to a big city, and now you come back to like kind of help with this revitalization. Like you are the revitalization that Akron is doing. Like this is what it's all about in the craft brewing industry and the food industry and the coffee, for that matter. I mean, if it's done right, is part of that. And I mean, that's why I get so excited about it. That's why I get so pumped about that. I want to see you guys succeed. Because that's what you're doing. Whether or not, I mean, that's like your ultimate goal, but like it is what you're doing. And so like I'm so like proud of you guys and excited and pumped for you guys to be doing that for Akron. It's huge.
Thanks, man.
And it's gotta feel, so let me transition to this. It's gotta be like you're almost there. You're like right at the brink. Like it's got to be that.
Yeah, we're right there. We're getting kicked back. It's like we're in a penalty box right now.
Oh no! Yeah,
like we're right there, and we just got fouled. So.
Yeah. But it's got to be that feeling of like putting all this first vision and then hard work and then putting it on paper and then coming together and building your team and putting it all together, and you're starting to see it kind of manifest. I mean. Talk about like what went into like, okay, this initial vision for what you wanted to be and like what you want, because even from 5 years ago to now, I think brew pubs have changed, especially 10 years ago. And so now it's like not really worried about the distribution. It's like make a really awesome brew pub and people come and experience what you've created in your beer. Talk about maybe a little bit what went into that planning process and how you created, I guess.
That makes sense. The concept for Lock 15, before we had Lock 15, before we had the location, before we had anything, the concept was a brew pub. And that concept was born at a Christmas party in 2010, believe it or not. I was back from Philadelphia for the holidays, and my business partner and our master brewer, Joe Karpinski, is my first cousin, and we have a family gathering every year. And at this particular family gathering, he brewed a batch of Christmas ale.
Okay.
And
at that time, like 2010, like Christmas ales were like all the rage.
Oh,
I mean, right?
Yeah. I mean, they were. So I tasted it, and I ended up having probably more than I usually do at a family Christmas gathering. But I just thought it was sensational.
Maybe a testament to the beer.
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought what he had produced, especially considering kind of the small and primitive equipment that he was working on
Right.
was just absolutely fantastic.
Sure.
And I kind of said, I mean, almost as a joke, I said, hey, if I ever move back into town, we should talk about putting something together.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few years, my wife and I had our first daughter, second one on the way. And I think
Awesome.
the boomerang story that you were talking about before,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that gets catapulted by children and cost of living.
Sure.
So,
Family. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have an amazing support network here. Joe and I both have a big family. And my wife's family's here. My whole family's here. So it was, we had always anticipated that we would come back at some point. So we did, and I opened Blue Jazz up the street. I was the general manager of Blue Jazz from opening day until just a couple of months ago.
Nice.
And that was really great. It was great to sink my teeth into something. It was great to really get that, just feel like I had ownership of a program.
Sure.
And that really drove me even further to get to the next step, to get to the next level, which was open in my own place.
Yeah.
And, I checked in with Joe. This is going back to probably May 2015 at this point. I checked back in with Joe, and we started talking about it, and we built a business plan. My cousin, Tom Eaton, who is not only an investor, but also kind of our acting CFO of the company.
Okay.
He came in. I asked him if he was interested in investing, and he kind of vetted the place and ended up, as a result, sort of building our financial model.
Nice.
And then we realized after we sat down and talked with Tom that we maybe had something.
Right.
So that was really kind of
It's gotta be a good feeling.
how it started to take shape was through those conversations and through building those concepts. So, moving on, fast forwarding, we found a great group of partners to help us get this thing off the ground. We were able to secure an SBA loan through Huntington Bank, and we were kind of full speed ahead. So
Nice.
That was, I say full speed ahead, that was 2.5 years ago. So not quite full speed ahead.
Sure,
but as does, with any of these things, and particularly coming from our standpoint, or at least from my standpoint, having been a part of the opening of several businesses, but never having, making ownership decisions in those businesses. This was a big step. So, we definitely had some bumps in the road and some trials and tribulations, and some of which you can read about in newspaper articles here and there. And but we ended up surviving and overcoming those obstacles, and here we are.
Yeah.
A week from opening.
Awesome. Yeah. It's a long journey, but I love it. And it comes down to like some of those details you're talking about, like, what's the floor going to look like? What's the lighting going to look like? What's the bar you were telling me about, the top level, right?
Yeah.
All those pieces.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it's really coming together great.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, and what's nice is when you get a crew, when you get John and you get Alex on board, and they can kind of, take the overall concept, the overall vision, and then instantly just kind of inject themselves into the creative process and be about solutions and making final decisions. And it's for me to be able to look at these guys and say, yes, do it, yes, do it, yes, do it. It's such a great thing, because anytime I have the opportunity to say that, it means that it's something that I don't have to worry about.
Right. You find people you trust and you trust them.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I'm like kind of painting the picture of how you have built, a brewery, a brew pub, and there's different aspects that I've seen as I've been covering this, and it's just my passion to follow, breweries. Since the early 2000s, but it's been fantastic and so fun seeing it grow from like Arche and Acton Coffee Roasters with the coffee side of it, and all the different breweries that are popping up all over. And so it's like the newer, like really close, like startups, like Missing Mountain, Missing Falls, a few other ones. Food isn't a huge thing on their maybe vision. It doesn't seem like, I could be wrong, but there's other breweries like Fatheads, for instance, that like it is like what they're known for. But like I said, like the newer brew pub, kind of just like the startups, it's not initially something that is like up front and a part of the whole plan, and that's why I'm looking over at you. I know you've been waiting patiently. I want to hear from you what you guys are doing, because you guys are different, I think, than most startup brew pubs that I've seen and I've been covering, even this whole Northeast Ohio area.
The food part of it's hard.
Yeah.
There's very little profit on the food side.
Okay.
So most of the time, Colin had. You have to research the people you're going to get to run the kitchen, because you need a guy who you're going to believe in and who's going to believe in your process, and you need to think alike.
Sure.
Okay. And then to bring the food on to what people naturally say is just a brew pub. Everybody looks at pretzels, a little bit of bar snacks here, maybe a burger here and there, and then you go to the extreme of like Fatheads. They got big portions. They have the headwiches. Named the tie into their brewery, which helps them stand apart.
Right.
But the main thing they still have is what? Their beer.
Yeah.
And their beer is good.
Yeah.
And then their beer can really level out the playing field of the food, and then you can get more creative. You can, your chef or whoever you have back there can really focus on that. And Colin said to me the very first day, he wants his food as the forefront with his beer. He doesn't want one or the other to take a step back. So if you can actually bring both to the forefront, you actually do have something nice, because then you have a brewery that is not just a brew pub, but it's a destination.
Yep.
And when you have a destination, whether you're here or down the street, people are going to want to go there. They're going to want to see you. They're going to want to feel that vibe and atmosphere. They're going to want to be a part of that. They're going to want to try and see how well we pair the beer with the foods, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
I mean, the good thing is we have so much food coming out of this kitchen. I literally have to know what I'm going to be doing right now. I mean, we have bar snacks. We have our chalkboard. We have our menu, and then and I just we're going to keep doing this. He says, well, let's do this. I say, well, let's do this. And then we're like looking, I'm like, well, we're not even open yet. So there's a lot we're doing. We're trying to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
We don't want this job to be stressful on anybody, especially Colin.
Yeah.
We want him to be able to come in and enjoy being an owner with Joe, and really enjoy his opportunity to do something that a lot of people wish they could do, but are afraid to take that shot.
Well,
he's taking the shot.
That's great leader. I mean, like leaders freeing up leaders to lead in their areas where they need to do it, and so that's huge.
Right. The way I look at it is, if we free him up to do other things, that just gives Alex and I other things, and that helps us grow.
Yep.
So if the brewery grows, we're growing. So if Alex and I grow, then the people that we have in underneath our positions grow, and then next thing you know, it's a cycle. We're not just about taking care of the environment or anything. We want to nurture people.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, being kind, having fun, enjoying this opportunity, and just getting yourself out there. And I mean, there's so much that this brewery is going to be doing. People just, we talked about earlier today. Watch out, because Lock 15 is coming, and there's a lot of things we're doing. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, conceptually, I always hark back. My first experience with a brewery in Akron, believe it or not, was Liberty Brewing Company down in the valley years ago.
Wow, yeah.
And they from day one always had a beautiful restaurant and the brewery that was there. And I was a kid. I mean, I couldn't drink. I wasn't drinking back then or anything like that. But I always remember just how cool it was to go in there and see the tanks.
Yeah.
And and to be a part of, you almost felt like you were in a factory, or you were part of that production process, and you could just see it happen. And I just always thought that was just such a neat place, And then as the brewing as the brewing market really expanded, and we started seeing a lot of these other small breweries popping up, people were kind of getting away from that a little bit. And my heart and soul is always in the overall experience. It's in food and beverage. It's the whole thing. And I mean, so that was our goal was always to say, look, I understand that not everybody drinks beer. We want to have a family-friendly place. I understand that if I go out to eat, I might have a beer, and my wife might want a nice glass of wine.
Sure.
So, our goal is to be able to apply the word craft to every aspect of what we do.
Yeah.
To take the extra time, to take the extra effort, to partner with great people that have positive messages and that have, local and sustainability in their mission statements, and grow from within. Because I think that we're moving towards a place in the overall economics of the nation where local economy is going to drive commerce locally.
Yeah.
And taking care of one another and supporting each other on a small scale means a lot more than it did even 5-10 years
Sure.
ago.
And I mean, it's like adversely the market of, we look at like Target and like Walmart and any of these big, global industries, giants, and like craft beer is like flipping that on its head. It's like, hey, doing exactly what you just said.
It's the one
and saying,
business that's
yeah.
doing it.
Exactly.
It
And
really
that's-
is.
I
Yeah.
love it so much. And it's like, hey, we're going to, be the artisan side from locally and source and build that community that you're
Right.
talking about.
Yeah,
Rather than take
Well,
over.
when you do that, you build trust in your brand.
Yep.
You build integrity.
Exactly. Sure.
And that's something that, the three of us, Joe, Summer, and our staff, that we're really preaching. I mean, you reach out to somebody and you help build their business, they're going to build your business, because you know what, you're doing the same thing for them. And
Absolutely.
when you're upfront, you're transparent, and you hold yourself to a standard, it's not going to fall to the wayside, because they're going to believe in you because you're believing in their product.
Yeah.
And to do something, we experienced it all last week. We've been talking about it. We took the staff to Green City Growers and the Bloom Bakery, two of our
I
big
saw something about
partners.
that. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'll let Colin talk a little bit more about that. But I mean, those partnerships that you build, you when you build them from the ground up, they follow you. And that's something that you want, because they will always be there to support you. And I mean, right now, Akron is a small little piece in the the craft and the food market here. But soon, once we get open, we're going to start revitalizing it, and we're going to start competing with the guys in Cleveland.
I've been saying that. I mean, I think
we
the
wanna
match
do
is
that.
lit.
Yeah, we want to do that, and hopefully, what we're doing here inspires other people to go out. It inspires the young chefs or the chefs that are here to maybe relight their passion and get it going. Because I can tell you right now, Colin and I are very competitive, and we want that challenge. Let's come on, let's bring it.
Right.
We want to raise the bar. We want to raise the
Yeah.
bar with
We want-
what is expected in a dining experience.
Yep.
Here, but to John's point, and just to touch on a couple things that he was talking about, which I think are very important to our mission statement. And also to brag a little bit about John, but we had originally partnered. One of our food fairs that we use is U.S. Foods. U.S. Foods has an amazing array of assets that help small businesses get started. They really do a great job with even though they're a huge company, with breaking things down into local segments and saying, hey, we're going to support this business, we're going to support this business, and then introduce those businesses to us, so then we can kind of continue that relationship. That happened a couple times. Bloom Bakery and Green City Growers, which we mentioned.
In New York, right?
These are in Cleveland.
Cleveland? Okay.
Yeah.
Local.
Okay.
So Green City Growers is a 3.5 acre hydroponic farm. They
Okay.
they produce lettuces and
Okay.
herbs.
Yeah.
And we're using them almost exclusively for our salad greens and for our sandwiches.
Nice.
But more importantly to me, they're a second chance employer, and they're a co-op that's 90% employee owned. So they give back to their employees. They give back to their community. They've taken East 55th Street in Cleveland, which is a notoriously rough part of Cleveland, and they've given hope to a lot of people by giving them opportunities to buy houses, to buy cars,
Schooling.
to buy ownership in the company,
Yep.
And they place these people, and they really take care of their employees.
It's awesome.
We believe in that.
I love that.
That's important to us.
Yeah.
Bloom Bakery is the same thing. They're hiring a lot of fresh out of prison nonviolent criminals, and just take it's another second chance employer.
Sure.
Teaching very important skills and placing them in a job where they can feel really good about coming to work and doing the work that they do, and they can continue to grow in that respect. So, those two were kind of the first. And then from that, we've just met more and more people. The Lady Butchers in Cleveland at Soucion, we got a chance to hang out with over this past week. Just their care and their attention to detail, their skill.
Yeah.
Having the opportunity to meet them and to bring them into our fold. I always like to say, telling their story helps us write our own.
Yeah, it's like you were saying, it's people that you invest in what they're doing good, and you want to propel them forward to keep doing that good. But let me ask you this, it's kind of like you see that they're doing what they're doing well, and they're doing it good, and it gets you super pumped up, but you also have to make sure they're doing their job and what you need for your company for like the supply, right? Mm-hmm. Well, so it's like a twofold.
It is a twofold, but you can tell like the people that we're mentioning right now and the people that we've talked about, you see it in their mission statement.
Yeah.
You see it in their people, in their eyes. When Colin, Summer, and I went there the first time and we got to tour at Jeremy, it was a very personal tour. Mm-hmm. We talked to some of the staff. They made direct eye contact. You can see the pride, the passion, and just the overall ownership that they had working at Green City, because they knew that Green City was helping them develop into a better person. Green City was helping them evolve and it changed their life.
Sure.
And then, bam, we went from there and sat down at Bloom and just saw the same exact thing and the beautiful pastries they were doing. So you see it in the people.
Right.
And we worked with Penny and Melissa and Jill and John and Tony, Jeremy, Chris Quinn this week, and to be surrounded with those guys this week and those gals.
It's awesome.
It was a step, and that's so to tie that into your point. You see it,
Yeah.
You can feel it,
Yeah.
The way they talk when they walk into a room, the presence, and so they back up what they say,
Right.
And just to bring something back to you, we're mentioning a lot of these names of these we were talking about last week, so that everybody knows what we're talking about.
Sure.
John was invited by a couple of our colleagues to participate in the Cleveland Rocks James Beard Foundation dinner in New York City at the James Beard House over this past weekend.
That's what I saw. That's why I asked.
On our website there's a lot of media. There's a lot of videos that we shot. John brought me along to help out, and it was I would talk about not only a complete honor to be working with all of these great chefs from Cleveland that were participating in that event, but for us, just to represent Akron, we were the only ones from Akron.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And man, we represent.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
But to be invited along and to be spoken in the same breath with those people, considering the fact that we're not even open yet, not only speaks to John's reputation and the relationships that he's made. But just what an unbelievable honor. Cooking at arguably one of the most famous kitchens in the entire world. James Beard House is a pretty remarkable place, and just the energy and the vibe and the support and just the overall experience. Again, it's just another thing that adds to this overarching feeling of camaraderie and of support for our local economy.
And I think that speaks what I've been discovering as I've kind of went on this venture of the Hop and the Bean. I started out as a segment on 330 To Go, and I was like, beer and coffee is about to be really big in Akron. It was starting to when I first did the segment, but it just continues to grow. And they're like, okay, well, do you want to do the show? And so I did the show, and I started investigating, and people just. The response was just like overwhelming, and the community, everybody just like says yes and like, yeah, come down and come to our brewery and come to a show.
It's a different type of person you're talking to. They live in the community.
Yeah.
So they know what it takes. They're hiring your kids. They're watching your kids grow up and graduate, get married. This is a community brewery. Colin's from the community.
Yeah.
So he's putting his namesake on the place where he grew up and loved. So when you get that, and the next thing you know, some of his friends, their kids are going to be here.
Sure.
You know, some of his family's kids are going to be here. There's things that we're tying in. So it's not just Colin's family involved in. Now it's my family. It's Alex. It's Summers. It's Joe's. It's our staff's family. So, I mean, take Cool Beans out of Medina, in Medina Square. Family. That's what they do. So you want to talk about coffee taking over? Coffee is the next craft beer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's that family aspect, and people are tired of watching neighborhoods fall apart because nobody wants to put anything back into them.
Right, yeah.
So when you start putting back in the community, man, do you get back 10,000 times.
Sure, and this is
And
the way
that's
we're
what-
doing it.
that's
I mean,
Great point,
with
John.
these,
Yeah.
You get back so much more than what it's crazy. Just let's see. I've been working with Colin since May, and just the feedback that since because my wife blasts Lock 15 everywhere she goes. She's doing whatever. But to get the feedback that we're getting from Youngstown, that we're getting from Toledo, Sandusky about the brewery, and people starting to follow it in their feedback and saying, "Where's Colin from? Akron." And when they hear that, they're like, "Holy cow!"
yeah, they start to trace it back down to its roots.
I mean, it could be the next LeBron giving back. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a level, but
Yeah.
when you give back to the
I need
community
another
like
growth
that, you get 10,000. It comes back way more than you ever expect.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, that's like my whole heartbeat behind the show is finding places like this, and it's because it's the city, like that's how we're going to rebuild the cities. It's how
Yes.
we're going to revitalize our neighborhoods, not by like the old ways where you have like the antique shops, and that was fine for the time probably. This way, I mean, we have the food industry, the beer and the coffee, and then they're coming in. I mean, I look at downtown Barberton right now with Cave and Ignite and Magic City down there, and like, holy crap, like like
Everybody's
Yeah, it's
got
coming to
eat.
life.
yeah. Right,
And,
yeah.
and there's, I mean, you go a 10-mile block around here, you have over 40 places to choose from. Okay, but where do you want to go? Where
Right.
can you go and get everything in one spot and feel welcomed, feel like you're part of the family,
Yep.
feel like you know somebody, and feel like consistency breeds credibility. And since day one, Colin's preached the same thing, and that's consistency right there, and that makes you nothing but credible. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, that's solid.
it's
Well, you think
every-
about, you buy a Budweiser. Where does that money go? It's not coming back to the.
I don't know.
It's not coming to Akron,
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's going to some big corporate
Right,
company someplace.
right, yeah.
You buy food from from one of these big from Giant Eagle. Where's the money going?
Right,
It's going
yeah.
to a big corporate company. You buy food from Crave, and that money's going back into the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
You when you support that local economy that way, you help drive local revenues, and the left hand feeds the right, and vice versa. So that becomes this whole element of driving local economy by supporting local. All of our bread's coming from Bloom Bakery. Well, now we're supporting another local business, so they're selling to us, and we're selling to our public, and that continues, that perpetuates this local economy, which it becomes, I think, just every day more and more important.
Yeah, what we're doing is going to bring people back to downtown.
Exactly.
The little mom and pop places that open on the outside, they want people to come to them, so they want to pull people from downtown.
Yep.
But what we want to do now is give them a reason to come back downtown Akron.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, Akron was a booming city.
Right.
And then when everything happened, some things fell apart, were taken away. Well, now we can give back and actually bring those people back down here. And why not in this beautiful location?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Herb Gardens, you got the beer garden, you got the towpath over there. It's beautiful when you walk in, and then when you walk into the facility itself, it's beautiful. I mean, we hit every element in that brewery from the floor to the. I mean, the what we're doing our podcast on right now is our table for the
Yeah.
brewery.
Nice.
The chairs you're sitting on.
Nice.
So it's,
And
it has-
they're not like the run of the mill, just every
Nope.
day.
Right.
It's super nice, but it's also unique and it's different. And
You
I'll
don't-
tell you what you're doing. And I joke around with a lot of different breweries that I go to, but I'll tell you what you guys are accomplishing is, I said, there's a lot of breweries that come out, they go for the industrial feel, and that's fine. And they're all about their beer, and that's fine. But it's like, and that the beer drinker, they're going to come there. But like that beer drinker has a wife and kids. Like,
Yes.
what happens when the wife wants to go out for dinner and
Right.
wants to go somewhere nice? Like,
We're gonna
probably
be
not going to want to go there. They want to come here.
we're gonna be a destination.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah,
Like,
we're gonna be. We spent. I think Colin and I looked at these tables for 2 weeks. We looked at the chairs. He changed his mind twice on the chairs. We found this chair. We didn't make a decision till the last minute because the tables were already on their way. So I mean, this wasn't an easy process because again,
Sure.
we wanted to stay true to Colin's vision of making sure that it was warm, welcoming. But they're gonna make fun of me because I've been saying this for the last week or so. These tables are gonna make our plates pop.
yeah.
Yes.
No, I
Okay?
love that.
Yeah, they
They're
will.
gonna make our plates
They're gonna
pop.
pop.
So all the tables are this exactly.
Yep, except for the
Nice.
bar. The bar is that nice
Yeah.
mahogany.
It's a converted barnwood. It's a whitewashed converted
Yeah.
barnwood. But yeah, it's been a learning experience for me because I never would have ever considered myself an interior designer of in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
But tying in elements and trying to create contrast between dark tones and cold tones and lighting and your color scheme and all that kind of stuff. I've had help along the way for sure, but it's actually been a really fun experience. This part of it has been just kind of getting into the details.
Sure. Yeah.
Finally getting into the details.
Yes.
Building up to that kind of point. So we talked about the food. We talked about kind of community that you're tapping into and supporting and building. Let's talk about the beer a little bit. Joe, your brewer, he's not here with us, but we're going to talk with him next week, right? We're going to have a kind of a little bit behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm excited about
focusing
this.
on-
I'm glad we were able to get this together because
Yeah,
I'm
I think
excited
so.
about kind of, and when we originally talked about it, kind of, taking your audience through the process of opening. You know, I mean,
Yep.
this is,
Yeah.
we're talking a lot about concepts and how you get to where you are and all that, but over the next couple of weeks, as we get into our soft opening and our grand opening, I hope that people will really get a sense for what it takes to actually get the place open.
That's completely it because I mean I love beer just as much as a lot of people, probably more than a lot of people, and coffee as well. And I could talk about beer for days and coffee. I'm learning more and more, but I've been finding I've been researched a lot of podcasts. And it gets a little bit dry. You get a little bit too nerdy, But like we just naturally, organically started talking about what I want the heartbeat of the hop and the bean to be about, and it's the people. And it's like that's what you guys are putting into. You can,
Right.
I mean, it came out naturally because it's who you are.
You can film one day of us in the kitchen.
Oh my
Oh!
goodness. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
You'll get
might
a
be
realization
blind.
what it's like.
You're going to have to get one of the little beepers.
You're gonna get a beep. What chef just say? Yeah. Yeah,
No.
it is about the people.
Yeah, and that's what that's what I set out to do for this show is I want to capture the communities that coffee and beer, those are the platforms that we're using to connect to each other through the communities, through the neighborhoods, through the city, the state, and in our country. I mean, honestly, since this craft beer revolution has started,
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago, but now we're to this point where it's locally and it's honing in on Akron and exploding.
Anthony Bourdain, who we just lost recently, one of the lessons that I think that he taught us, which was so important, was that, as you travel the world and you go and you experience different cultures and different people, there are a few things that are just common threads through each and every one of those experiences that you might have. And two of them are the food that we eat and the beverages that we drink, and the way that those bring people together.
Right.
And nothing. I mean, to this day, having been someone that's been part of a big family and been part of a lot of failures in finding out my direction in life.
Sure.
I think it's been a lesson learned that food and beverage and hospitality really transcends culture.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it becomes an avenue with which to share with people that you don't have a lot of other things to share. You might not have anything in common,
Right.
But you can relate on those things.
Yeah.
Breaking bread with a stranger can change their life.
Yes, it can.
Absolutely.
It can change your life, whether it's today, tomorrow, but just to break bread with somebody, to sit down and truly show care over food brings people together no matter what ethnicity you are, it doesn't matter. When you're, I mean, we ate at some beautiful places.
Sure.
But aside from the food, the best part about it was the camaraderie that we had, the experience we were able to share together, the jokes, the fun we had during the meal, and talking about it, and then just talking about. I mean, I think Kyle and I learned more about each other through just the food and our personalities, through everything, because of the food, not just because we took a trip that was, oh my goodness, it was the experience that needed to be had, and breaking that bread set the tone for, I think, what we're going to be able to do going forward. There is more trust, there's more like a brotherhood being built right now. So when you're able to break bread with somebody, it's life changing.
I think it's the same with like sharing a beer, like a good
Yes.
beer. Like it's okay. It's like, stop me if I'm getting too like deep into like humanity here, but like
We're going there.
Yeah, we're going there. So, but it's like we're people, and we're so like we build up these like walls, and we're so like weird in our own way, and it's almost like we're so like standoffish, and it's hard to like actually get to know. If you haven't, outside of growing up with someone since like third grade, it's like hard. They say like the hardest thing to do for an adult is to make new friends.
Right.
And so like I feel like craft beer and like good food breaks down those barriers, like you're saying, and it's like it gives you something to like connect over, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're just.
If I'm trying to talk to somebody nowadays, hey, want to go get a coffee? And I'm like, what? I'm like, let's go get a coffee.
Right.
You know, it again, like you said, it breaks that barrier. You know, and you know, these is the death of society right now. I mean, it's crazy because we're all glued to them. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
But like Colin said, you set this down for 5 minutes and just have that conversation.
Right.
Now, granted, we were all picture taken, but once our picture we were done.
Yeah.
The conversation was live. It was
Yes.
real. It was.
And you can't hold a phone and a beer at the
At the
same
same
time.
time.
Great point.
That's a great quote.
Yeah. So
I'm going to use that.
you should. So again, you're absolutely right. You know, to do that and get in depth with that person and find out who they really are. Without this, is what's missing today.
Yeah. I mean, it's a connecting point. It is to a point, but it's like when do we break down those barriers? When do we start to come together? And I mean, and I think that's what we're accomplishing by like these brew pubs and having it. I mean, and having it to be like, oh, we can like talk about that beer, or we can talk about that dish, or whatever it is. So and usually, and so kind of the connecting point to all of this, the hop and the bean, is like usually the same person that likes craft beer likes specialty coffee. So those kind of the communities I'm trying to combine. I'm trying to realize that they are the same person, and we can kind of connect over that. Do you guys? And let me just ask you this, because I ask this wherever I go. Are you guys gonna? I know there's a thing with Scribbles that we're gonna be tapping into at some point. Are you guys gonna serve coffee in the brew pub?
Alex, you
Go
want
ahead,
to talk about
Alex.
our coffee
Yes, we
program?
are. Yeah, we absolutely are going to serve coffee. That's one of the things that Joe's really fired up about as well. I'm thinking that we're going to do a nitro for the
Nice.
coffee as well.
Huge right now.
And, just giving the customer a wide variety of, beer, and Colin with the wine program, and then we can have the coffee to follow it up. Especially with our desserts that we brought in. Those are going to be excellent. A coffee and a very nice dessert between the $7 and $9 range. It's very reasonable, and I think the customers are going to react very well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. So I do this. I love that. I mean, and Scribbles is going to also supply coffee for the
beer.
For the beer,
Yeah,
For
yeah.
the Imperial.
The
Coffee
Imperial
Stout?
Coffee Stout,
Yes.
yeah, which has that's a major coffee kick right there.
Yeah.
I love that beer. It's a high ABV beer.
Sure.
You get just kind of punched in the face with coffee and chocolate, and what are you laughing at?
Nikki back there.
No, I mean it's a bowl. It's a bowl. I mean it for me. I drink I don't drink a lot of coffee, but when I do, I like an espresso or
Yeah.
a nice,
I'd be
a
strong.
strong cup of black,
Right,
yeah.
Basically,
of black
Joe
coffee.
Brown
Right,
does
right,
beers.
right. So
Drink 7.
so yeah. So I rarely go back for a second cup of coffee, and I don't know that I need any more than one of those
Yeah,
beers.
definitely.
So
So I do this thing called the last call. I ask kind of 5 random weird questions. But before we get into that, first, do we have any questions from our online viewership at all that are dying to know any answers from Lock 15 for now for this intro show. I'm sure they will soon.
Not yet. People are really liking the entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay. Yeah. Before we get into last call, what's one thing that you want people to know that you guys are working really hard to be known for?
Well, we're almost plastic free.
Oh yeah.
So
Great.
I mean, everything that we're bringing in is compostable, biodegradable, from all of our to-go containers.
Okay.
We're going to have paper straws in. You know, we're not even going to wait for that. The only thing that we're struggling with right now is, the
Cocktail
straws.
stirrers,
Yeah.
and trash bags.
And trash bags. But other than that, we're really making a focus to really help, the community and nature as a whole from not having all that in there. So basically, anything you get here, you can put in a compost and we'll be ready to go. So
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
that's one thing. I mean, I think that's really unique because a lot of people are now doing it. We're starting that way.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have to fall back and try to catch up. People are going to be catching up to us on that aspect.
Nice.
I think for me, if I could tell one story that I want people to know is that, I know when my wife and I go out and we look for places to take our family to go and eat, we're sometimes critical or skeptical about sort of the family-friendly nature of a place, and for us, for what we're doing here, if there was one message I want to get out there is that, breweries probably aren't necessarily thought of as family-friendly destinations. But that's really our goal. I mean, our number one goal is we have a great kids menu. We set it up in a very specific way that I think is going to not only have a great value for families, but in a way that's creative for the kids too. You get to kind of pick and choose
Something
what
you
you
get
want to
excited
eat,
about,
and so I mean, for me, it's just I want people to know that we really want to be known and as a family friendly place, as a place where you can stop in off the trail and grab a quick bite and just enjoy that atmosphere with your whole family.
Sure.
I think that there's not enough emphasis placed on that in the marketplace when it comes to boutique restaurants and craft breweries like this. So I think to take that extra effort to make sure that families feel welcome and feel comfortable, and you feel comfortable with your kids. I mean, everybody that's a part of this, well, not you, I guess, but so John and I,
Sure.
Not that you know of.
John and I both have kids, and we love being fathers, and that's I want my kids to be a part of this whole experience. From my standpoint.
Right.
And how could I have them be a part of it and not have that be extended to everyone else?
No, I absolutely am with you. I mean, I think about that exact thing that you said, like when my wife and I start to think about places that we want to go. First of all, that we want to go together. And then once my two boys will stop beating the crap out of each other, we'll think about taking them somewhere. Because like right now they're 2 and 4 and they like just fight nonstop. Like
I know
fight.
that.
But, But there's some breweries, so I'll say this, but it is, I think, on the radar, but a lot of breweries aren't executing it yet greatly. They're trying to become known as a family-friendly brewery or brew pub, and that's great and that's fantastic. But to actually do it and do it well, and to be somewhere where like my wife and I'll be like, yeah, we could take the boys here, or like, that's not. They say family-friendly, but it's not. It's like to be aware of that is big.
Sometimes it's hard because
It's tough,
it's perception. Well, they're a brewery.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, that's Applebee's, so I still can't bring my kids there. It's just perception.
Yeah.
And once the perception changes, again, you got to have more than just pretzels.
Yeah.
And bar snacks.
Yeah.
That's where people are looking at now. There's more foodies now than there's ever been.
Yep.
Everybody thinks they know food, and then so that's the tough part. You can't say you're a brewery with great food, because if you say you have great food, they're going to hold you accountable to that.
Right.
So you
Oh,
better,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
better bring your A game every single time. So, it helps that, all of our kid food it's not just drop. It's made, we're cooking our kid food. We literally prep it to order, just like every other dish we're doing here. So
Nice.
that makes it also special, because we're not giving them fried chicken dinners.
Yeah,
We're
right.
making them. We're
Yeah.
grilling them. We're doing this. They're gonna get a fruit salad. They can have They can have a chickpea salad. They can have the pesto tuna salad. There's a lot we're giving them to really make the kids feel like, oh my goodness, I can eat a gourmet meal like mom and dad.
Yeah, that's
so-
awesome. That's big. You made me think of something. I forgot what I was going to say, but I don't know. It'll probably come to me in the middle of this last call.
About
But
12:30 tonight.
yeah, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to call you.
Chef,
Hey,
answer this. We're live right now.
Call him right now.
I'll go live on Facebook at midnight. Hey.
Finish this.
But yeah, so last call. We'll start on your end. Like I said, 5 random questions. They get weirder as they get into the order. Usually how we go. They're kind of centered around beer. Last week they were centered around Woolly Pigs. We were at the Woolly Pig Farm Brewery, which was an experience. Amazing, awesome. I loved it. So yeah, last call. Question number 1: Is there super simple kind of? Is there a brewery that you kind of look up to, like your brewing or brewery hero?
For me, it would be the Stone Brewery. It's just such a beautiful area. The beer garden is wonderful. They have great beers, great food. Generally, that's something that I would strive to get to. It's just so cool out there.
Yeah.
It really is. And they have a nice family-oriented area. You can walk around the grounds. Kind of similar with this area, because you have you can hear the running water. You can see the natural, when we have that towpath over there. It's going to be wonderful. But
Yeah.
we're really trying to be parallel with that. Just a very beautiful landscape overall.
Nice.
I'd say for me locally, Great Lakes.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean that model, and coming into the game when they came, growing how they grew, paying attention to detail, taking over a national distribution, just the expansion. They were clearly ahead of their time, and
Yeah.
we would be lying if we said that any of us are here, without some of their influence.
Sure, yeah. So you could alter this question to a chef if you would like, or if you have a brewery that.
I mean, we can look at 2, because if you take the 2 that right now that are just killing it overall, Great Lakes as the brewery itself from what they've done,
Yep.
and then you have to jump right over to Fatheads,
Right.
and see what they've done with the food, how they tailored it to Fatheads, like the head wedges and stuff.
Absolutely.
And then now even with them with their brand new brewery out there, so you take those 2,
Yeah.
you literally have, because Fatheads is still a newcomer on the business, with what they're doing. But then you got Grandpa right there still killing it for everybody. So you bring those 2 together. That's hopefully what we're gonna take over is that direction.
Yeah, I'd probably say Fatheads. That's probably the direction I was thinking. But I mean, yeah, they're
Right.
known for their head witches. I mean, we went there for my birthday. I had the smoked wings with a hot juju. It was perfect combination. So this is, I think I might maybe know the answer, maybe not. But you guys don't all have to answer this. But was the first beer that you knew you wanted to serve here at Lock 15?
Well, I mean, we talked about the Christmas ale that I had.
That's
at
what
the
I was
party.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah.
But to be honest with you, though, but by the time we actually got into the process, I was so far removed from that I really didn't remember that much about it. So it wasn't. I don't think that had anything to do with it at that point. But
Yeah.
there's probably 2 that I would point to, and they just really speak not only to Joe's creativity when it comes to brewing, but just his attention to detail. And I would say the first one is we call it now our Instigator IPA,
Okay.
which is going to be our year-round IPA. It's the unique part about this was Joe took a stab at kind of a 50-50 Sriracha Ace hops and Citra hops.
Okay.
And so with that, you have the Sriracha Ace is used in a lot of farmhouse ales. It has a very distinctive flavor to it,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to create a unique IPA. I think at this point,
Anymore,
with the major styles that you have, it's hard to really get something that really hits a different note. And this does that. The Sriracha Ace gives you a lot more of almost like a lemongrass and a dill kind of an undertone, rather than more of your big citrus, your grapefruit and your blood orange flavors. So,
Right, yeah.
So in that respect, that beer I thought was just, when we first took that one out of the test batch and tasted it, I couldn't get enough of it. It was really great.
Nice. Okay.
And then the other is the Belgian Triple.
Okay.
And I feel like the Belgian Triple really speaks to Joe's heart when it comes to stylistically what he likes to brew. He loves a lot of the older, the more traditional styles. He loves the Belgian water. I mean, just the mineral content and the structure of the beer and how it all comes together. So that for me was just a beer that I tasted that is I think a complex style. And one that can go wrong in a lot of different ways.
I was going to say, I don't love that style, but if you find a good one, I love it.
Yeah.
And Great Lakes made a really good one, I remember.
And that was another one that just, to see Joe kind of really personify his passion in that way and create a beer that he just loves, a style that he loves, and to have it really just hit all the notes. I think that was one of the moments where I had confidence that we were going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah. That's awesome. You led in perfectly to the next question. So, as you said, IPAs are they've traditionally, as this revolution began with all the craft breweries, it's been and continues to be, I think, the most popular style. But now you see different trends started with the West Coast, which is probably one of my favorites, is the West Coast a couple of years ago, and maybe even last year. Now you have the New England hazies that are everywhere, everybody in the brothers brewing them. But, so I guess the question is, what is your favorite style of IPA?
Man, that's a good one. I don't know.
And like you said, it's so broad now.
Yeah,
but
but much in the same way, I feel like as one, it would be hard for me to say stylistically this is my favorite, because there are so many good expressions of different styles.
That's true.
I will tell you that we were in New York cooking at the James Beard House this last week, and at the bar I had a beer that I had not had since I was living in Philadelphia 5 years ago. Yeah. And it was it was so good. It's the Firestone Walker Union Jack IPA. If you've never had it and you're traveling outside of Ohio, because for whatever reason we can't get it here. But if you have the opportunity, that to me is such a great beer. Okay. It's nice because it hits a lot of those notes, but everything in it is just kind of tempered, and it's not over the top in any way. It's just a really nicely balanced IPA that kind of hits a lot of those. I mean, it has a little bit of the citrus notes. You clearly get the bitterness and the finish from the hops, but overall, it's just a beautifully structured beer.
Nice. You guys got anything on those IPAs?
I'm not a real big beer drinker,
yeah.
so we'll send it down that way.
I like the Boom Sauce. It's a hazy IPA as well.
Lord Hobo?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs.
I like their Angelic. The
Angelic is very good too.
Yeah.
But I really like the Boom Sauce.
Yeah.
I can get it on tap out at Highland Square.
Nice.
Very well structured beer. I love it. Not too overly bitter. I think it really is good. I could drink a lot of those.
I think I had my first. They just rebrewed another batch of it. Platforms Paranormal Hoptivity. I just had it tonight, and I really loved it when it came out. And like I said, I think it's my first platform beer, and so I bought one today from Mustard Seed, because you can buy singles. And it's good. It's like that West Coast style.
Oh, yeah. And
it was just a little bit different than most IPAs, especially right now. It kind of took me back to that time when West Coasts were more big. So getting a little bit weirder with the questions. If your brewery was a Netflix show, or if you don't have Netflix, a TV show, who would it be?
Oh, man.
Cheers, man. Come on.
I'm hoping you won't say like Stranger Things or
You ever see
Breaking Bad?
What is it?
Wow.
Ranch?
I've not watched it
with Ashton Kutcher. And
I mean, honestly, that's because of the quick witness of the show. But I mean, Colin and I were sitting in a cab in an Uber with Chris Quinn from U.S. Foods and Jeremy Lindsay, our last Uber ride back to the hotel. And that was, I think, the funniest 10 minutes that we put on for this Uber guy. And he basically said all four of us should just do like the car
Drinking in
Yeah.
cars with
Yeah.
celebrity or whatever. No.
It was. We were hilarious. I mean, it's funny because I told Colin.
None of which we can repeat in any sort of a
Yes,
public
we can't
forum.
because we would get But Colin and I were just talking, and Alex and I said the same thing. Who's ever on the other expo side,
Good
there's,
luck.
There's good luck because there's gonna be some stuff said that people what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I think the ranch is. I mean,
Okay.
that's because just how quick-witted we are, and we have some really hilarious one-liners.
Nice. Nice.
I think we would do that. I mean,
Okay. What do you got down there, Alex?
He might like the oranges and the new black.
It's tough. You better stop. You better stop it.
Penny Dreadful.
I can't think of anything off the top of my
Yeah,
head, but
yeah.
John really hit it on the head there.
Yeah.
You know, between the camaraderie and
Yeah.
the family aspect, it's just a blast.
Entourage.
Entourage.
Oh,
yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
Okay,
Entourage.
okay.
Great show.
Smurfs.
Yes.
That leads into the next question. Save that answer. Yeah. So, going into that next. So, what cartoon character from your childhood would you like to either brew a beer after or have a beer with?
I'm going to say in honor of this process, I'm going to go Wile E. Coyote because he repeatedly got crushed and smashed and blown up and shot
Yeah.
and dragged, and he still pops up
Pops up, yeah.
every time.
Yep.
So
If we had sound effects, I'd play that.
yeah. Yeah, and if I see anything delivered from Acme, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Smurfs, is that your answer? Yeah.
I mean, no, if you look at our staff, I would have to say, I know they're not cartoon characters, but man, we have the whole Harry Potter staff.
Oh, that counts. That counts. That's close enough.
We have 3 Harry Potters. We have Lucius Malfoy. We have a Hobbit.
Hold on.
We have
Dudley.
We're
we have
friends with all
Dudley.
listeners.
We have Dudley
I mean,
Turner.
my goodness, we have the whole Harry Potter cast on our staff.
We just
Okay.
call Pete a house elf? Is that what we just
No.
No.
That's
Yeah,
great.
me too.
Well, I don't know if she's listening, but Summer could be our Hobbit or Troll or
Oh, God.
little angry little thing.
Okay. All right.
So we got her.
All
And then
right.
we have Barris. He
Yeah.
could be a Hagrid.
Perfect.
So yeah, I mean our staff is awesome.
Yeah.
So you name it. I mean, we have the family there, and we can go Smurfs. I mean,
Yeah.
we can,
Yeah.
So
I mean, I want like a Smurf beer, like a blueberry stout or something.
Oh, yeah.
We'll work on it. We'll get there.
Okay. I would love. This is when I think of these questions, I think of my own answers. Like a Doug Funny, like adventurous. He was always like creatively like thinking
Quail
of like
Man
these,
IPA?
yeah, something that's
I
just like
gotcha.
a crazy,
Oh, yeah.
imaginative Doug Funny beer. I don't know. So work on that.
We got
That's
it.
very good. That's very good.
Yeah.
And the good news is we got the guy to do the artwork for it.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's favorite cartoon of all time, Doug. So learn something new every day about me. What do you got? Any cartoons for a beer?
It's tough. I love it.
Patronus.
Stop it. I love the Ninja Turtles. The Donatello.
Nice.
I
Oh, that would be
Wolverine,
awesome.
You know,
Yes.
I love the
Raphael
Ninja Turtles.
Red
Yeah.
Ale.
You could do like
you
whole
could do a color
4-part
scheme
series.
of them.
Yep.
You know, I love the Ninja
Where's Joe?
Turtles.
I hope Joe is listening to this, right?
It would be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a Doug Funny Quailman IPA. It's coming in.
Nice.
It's coming in.
I will
Yeah.
lose my mind.
Yeah.
Well, cool, guys. Unless you guys have anything else, anything else you guys want to know that you want our viewers or listeners to know about Lock 15 that we haven't already said?
Just if you're interested in checking out what's going on, our website is up and running, www.lock15brewing.com. You can follow us on social media, on Facebook. We're going to be putting up some more videos, and we have some great videos up already from a lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight, just a lot of the prep work and more information about Bloom Bakery, Green City Growers, the James Beard event that we just got back from. So, just follow us, take a look, and we just can't wait to get you guys down here to try it out for yourselves for the first time. We are super stoked about where we're at, and we can't wait to share it with you.
Absolutely. I am pumped up about this as well. And so this is going to be part one. So like if you missed it, we'll be here next week with Joe, the brewer, and we'll figure it out exactly how we're going to do it, but hopefully get a feel of the kind of beers that you guys will be. That's why we didn't get too much into it today or tonight in the podcast, that we can hear about.
What day will you be here with Joe?
Next Thursday.
Oh, I'll have food at your table.
Oh, nice. Okay.
There we go, John.
And and we'll have some food tasting, so we can actually explore that avenue.
Yeah.
So we can see what kind of beer, what kind of food.
I'll just give you guys pretzels.
And the Big Macs you were talking about.
Oh yeah, we got to back. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then as they get closer to opening, we're going to cover again, come back and see how it's all come together and what it looks like for the doors to actually be open for customers to come into the public. So as we kind of wrap up here, it's clear that there's been careful thought out and intentional effort put into the creation of the Lock 15 Brewing Company. And it's so amazing, this wave of the craft brew pubs and coffee houses, that each one is intentionally and uniquely created, from the products that they offer to the experience that you encounter. And I'd say it's totally accurate for you guys. This Lock 15 will be a tremendous addition to the versatility of the excellence that Akron is becoming known for in the craft brew world, and these Akron, Northeast Ohio foodies that you're talking about. I mean, and so I couldn't be more excited to welcome them to both here in Akron and the Hop of the Bean community. So don't just take my word for it. Come down here when they're open. Come check them out. I'll probably be down here. I'm ready to buy you a beer if you mention the show. But come down here and check it out when you guys are open.
Yeah, August 14th is going to be kind of a soft week, so we're not really going crazy with the promotion for August 14th. But I guess the Hop and the Bean exclusive here for the week of August 14th.
Yep.
We'll be open lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday, and then we will make sure that the wheels are still on the train, get geared up, and we're going to go full bore grand opening on August 21st.
So exciting. Awesome. So until next time, thank you so much for joining us on the Hop and the Bean. And whether it's a coffee bean extracted cup of caffeinated excellence or a hoppy, happy, fresh brewed glass of craft beer bliss, cheers to you. I'm Buzz Andrews, and I'm all hopped up. Thanks for watching, guys.